Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Faisal Ghias from Chicago, Illinois, the Executive Director of the Oasis Initiative. I wanted to welcome all of you today to our webinar. This webinar is on love and service, and it's sponsoring the Bissau project, which is our premier project that we sort of highlight for all of you during the month of Ramadan. I wanted to begin by just talking a little bit about the Bissau project and what it is. This is a grassroots effort. This is a project that we've been working on now for more than 4 years. And this is our fourth sort of year entering this phase of the project. And so today I wanted to have a bit of a back and forth with some of you and some question and answer. Maybe we can talk a little bit about the project. And then, of course, we'll hear from our respected teachers. We have with us today Imam Zaid Shakir, we have Shaykha Muslema Purmul, and we have our poet, Baraka Blue. So I wanted to begin by welcoming you all and talking a little bit about the personal side of this, which is that about 4 or 5 years ago, I was asked and I was contacted by a brother who was living in the Gambia at the time in West Africa. And he told me this amazing story of people converting to Islam in really large numbers. And really, it was very much something that really touched my heart, because what we had was somebody on the ground who was very concerned for his people and very concerned for what's going on in a country that is Guinea-Bissau. And Guinea-Bissau is one of the 10 poorest countries in the world. It neighbors the Gambia by just a next country over. And there were these people converting to Islam in really large numbers. Now, the beauty of this story is that all of you came to help right away. And we ended up sending out information that said there are thousands of people converting to Islam. We actually put together a lot of money. We flew a filmmaker out to even see the project, and we facilitated the conversion of thousands of people. So here we are, 4 years later, and the project has continued to grow with your support and with your commitments. And we really want to thank you for that. So these webinars are a way for us actually to extend our gratitude to you, but it's also a way for us to talk a little bit more about the project itself. And I'm really grateful and thank you for joining us today. Dustin, our brother at the Center for Global Muslim Life, is going to pull up the actual campaign page. And what we'll do is we'll go through it. And I just want to be able to talk a little bit through what we've discussed today in the campaign itself. And we'll talk through basically the three main functions of what we're trying to do. The first function is education. And when you have thousands of people entering the religion, it really is our duty as Muslims to educate them and make them understand or help them understand their religion better. When we first came to these villages, now that we're in about 15 villages, it was a bit of a challenge to educate the adults. You have to remember that the education level is not as high as it is in Western countries. And also the people themselves are busy working. They're farmers typically. So we decided to focus on children. And what we do in our programs now is we do Quran schools, and we teach the religion to all the children of these villages. Right now, we have roughly 2,000 to 2,500 children in about 15 villages that we're supporting with education. As you all know, really living this religion is about community. It's about continuity. It's about bringing a sense of belonging to these new Muslims. And so what we've tried to do is we've tried to be very holistic about our da'wah projects. And what that means is that instead of just educating the children, we're also giving them a meal, and we're also providing water access to these villages. And we're also really trying to focus on just something as simple as zakat distribution. And because this is one of the 10 poorest countries in the world, your zakat and my zakat really go a long way in these places. And so that's really what we're doing today, is raising awareness for this amazing project. And hopefully our brother Dustin can pull up the website and we can go through the Launch Good campaign itself. What we need from you is very simple. We need you to make dua for us, for this project, for the people of Guinea-Bissau. It's still a majority non-Muslim country. But in my travels to Guinea-Bissau, I've seen that the people's hearts are extremely open to Islam. So the more villages that we support, the more blessings that we try to bring into the space of Guinea-Bissau, into the country of Guinea-Bissau, the better chance we have of spreading Islam in the country. So I really want to emphasize that The ask today is for you to join us to learn from beautiful words from Imam Zaid, from Shaykha Muslema, from Baraka Blue. But also, we need your donations. We need you to spread awareness for the campaign. Just helping spread the word and sending the campaign to maybe 15 or 20 friends and family, I think would go a long way to help. And if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook Live, what we'll do is we'll just share the link for a WhatsApp group in which people can join. And you can see how every day we're sort of sending out a new message. Hey, share this with your friends and family. And that sort of gets the ball rolling. Right now, as of today, we're still short of our target. So we do want to raise a lot of money for this campaign. This is a huge project and a very important project. So inshallah, let's get started with going through the campaign itself. Now, the name of the campaign is Help New Muslims in West Africa. Really, we've called it different things in the past, but it is the same campaign. And what we wanted to focus on this year was feeding 11,000 people for iftar. And obviously, this is a huge gift for the people there. But what we decided to do was put together a care pack, basically an iftar care package. And if you scroll through the website here, you'll see that we have iftar packages for over 11,000 people. And really, our goal is to feed as many people as possible. So we've done the basic staples of a diet in West Africa. We've given them about 30 kilograms of staple foods. And this is enough to feed a family of roughly 7 people. That includes things like rice, tomato paste, some dates, cooking oil, and things like that. Now, it's important to remember that in these countries, we actually are on the ground working as we speak. So we've already dispersed all of these care packages. We need you to pay for them, but we've actually dispersed them already. So people do have these already, in case there's questions about that. And this will get them through the Ramadan, and will also, inshallah, get them to Eid. And hopefully we have a very large Eid celebration for all the villages as well. Now, scrolling down to the education side of things, I hope you can see these beautiful pictures. It says here, support Islamic education for thousands. We at the moment provide full-time education for over 2,000 children across 15 villages. They attend about 6 days of schooling per week at no cost to their family. Now, an interesting anecdotal story is that we noticed in the beginning of doing this work that the amount of people in the classes were dwindling. They were getting a little bit smaller. And what we realized was that the parents wanted the kids to go work in the fields, primarily in cashew farming. And so for us to sort of build trust with the parents and to also convince them that the children should come and learn, what we ended up doing was we ended up instituting a meal policy for every child in our school. And so all of those 2,000 children are getting one meal a day. And what we noticed in their time with the ustads, with the teachers in the village, is that the minute that we began serving food to the people, they immediately began to come in larger numbers. So that's a really important part of this project, is being creative and addressing sort of the needs on the ground. This is very much a lived experience for everybody involved. So part of our philosophy at Oasis and even at the Bissau project is to make sure this is a lifelong learning process, and we're learning as we go as well. And so as the project matures, we should be learning new things and growing continuously. I'm going to scroll down to building wells, mosques, and schools. And I think this is really, really important because over the last 5 years, we've either repaired, managed construction, or funded 8 different mosque and school buildings. Now, the important thing here is that what we're doing is we're providing on-the-ground support, but we're also responding to the needs of the local villages. And so typically what happens in a village like this is if I'm on the ground in Guinea-Bissau, I would go and visit the village elders. And in that meeting with the village elders, they would let us know that, hey, listen, the school's damaged. It's not safe. We need to fix that. Maybe there's no plumbing. Maybe we need to build a well. And so this is sort of what we're doing, is addressing the needs of the infrastructure issues that arise as they come to us. You see here some beautiful pictures of the children in the schools, and then facilitate water access for thousands. This is really important. And what you primarily see in this part of West Africa is you see a lot of wells that were dug maybe 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. And those wells have dried up. So the old method of digging wells has fallen to the wayside because the water ends up drying out. And so whatever NGO came 10, 15, 20 years ago, dug a well and they left. What we're trying to do is we're trying to have a clear and present presence in the village itself. And so our water access projects are not really meant to just be a short-term solution. What we're trying to do is we're trying to dig what's called boreholes, and those go much deeper into the ground. And then we pump out the water using a solar panel pump. And so a solar panel is installed, a tank is raised above the ground, and then we run water taps to various parts of the villages. So this is a really significant project, and it takes time. We're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars, roughly maybe $20,000 for a village. And if the village has maybe 5 to 10,000 people, you can see the benefit in that, because the borehole and the water access will last for not 5 years or 10 years, it'll last for 25 or 30 or inshallah 50 years. And then the other thing we wanted to emphasize with this webinar and with the campaign itself is zakat distribution directly to recipients. Now, typically with most organizations, we tend to at least think about zakat as maybe a food pack, which of course is a part of this project, but we also like to give cash. And even with our iftar packages that we're giving them food for the month, but we're also giving them cash. And this is an important sunnah in our tradition. It's an important thing that also in recent studies has shown that actually puts the ball in the court of the person receiving the gift. And we feel that we trust these families. And if somebody in the family is sick, the money will be used for medicine. If the family doesn't have enough food, money will be used for the food. And so it's a very communal way of giving, and it's something that is based on trust. And so I want to emphasize that because I think that's also rare that we do. And then social enterprise investments. I think this is really, really important to discuss as a Muslim community, and that is that how do we make these projects sustainable? Of course, we need your donations. Of course, we need your help. And in Ramadan, we're taught to open up our wallets and take the money out of our hearts and put it in our pockets and give it. So inshallah, we will receive money from you in this Ramadan. But we also understand the need to have sustainable institutions. And if we can do this da'wah work and give back and spread Islam, but also make it so that there are diversified ways we bring in money into this project. So your donations are one of them, your family's donations are one of them, your zakat is one of them, sadaqah is one of them. But investing in small businesses, like buying a mini truck or buying a tractor and renting it out, these are ways that we're trying to sort of build out the project and make it totally sustainable for the long run. So I want to thank you for that. Inshallah, we'll move on to the next part of the webinar, which is our sister Shaykha Muslema Purmul. And this is Shaykha Muslema lives in Southern California. She is the religious director of the Majlis, which is a community organization. I'm actually on the board of the Majlis, so I'm really proud to call Shaykha Muslema my friend. And we're really just grateful that she's able to bless us with some words today. After that, we'll move on to Baraka Blue. And then after that, we'll move on to Imam Zaid, inshallah. So thank you so much. We'll move on to Shaykha Muslema.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Muslema Purmul, and alhamdulillah, I'm very happy and honored to be with you all today. Inshallah, today I'm supposed to address a topic that is close to all of our hearts. It's love and service, opportunities for love and service in this beautiful and blessed month of Ramadan. So I'll start formally, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. When we think about this topic of love, one of the words that comes to mind, one of the statements that comes to my mind is the statement of Imam Ghazali. And he said that love for the sake of Allah, brotherhood and sisterhood, this concept that is so foundational to our faith. He says love for the sake of Allah has 3 levels. And the first level is that we give to our brother or sister only when we have extra. And the second level is that whatever we have, we split half of it for ourselves and half of it for our brother and sister. And the third is that we actually prefer our brother and sisters over ourselves when we ourselves are in need of something, and that's the highest level. And that is the level of ithar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes this in the Quran when He's describing the way that the Ansar gave to the Muhajirin. وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَى أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. And there's a really beautiful story related to this where one of the companions didn't have that much food in his home. And another companion came that was hungry, and they knew that this companion was hungry, and so they decided to feed him all of the food in their home, without that person actually knowing that they had eaten all of the food. And they did this by inviting the guest in and dimming the lights and actually making motions of as if they were eating. They put all of their food in front of him, and the husband and wife pretended to eat essentially in the dimmed light. And the poor Muslim who came and ate the food didn't realize that he was actually eating all of the food in that person's home. And subhanAllah, the next day the Prophet Muhammad wanted to know, who in their community had done this beautiful act, because it was revealed in that way. And so love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it inspires. When we hear stories like this, it inspires the best in all of us. It should inspire the best in all of us. And there's many different ways that a person can give. And some will give directly through financial aid. Other people give through acts of service. And another tradition of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that I just came upon in more detail this Ramadan. I had actually heard a much shorter version of this hadith, but this longer version is so beautiful. So one time a man walks into the masjid of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and Ibn Abbas saw that the man looked sad. So concerned, Ibn Abbas asked the man what's wrong, and the man tells Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu that I owe a debt and I can't repay it. So Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu offers to go and talk to the person that he took the loan from for him, so that his debt could be forgiven. And the man gratefully accepted. And just as Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu was leaving the masjid, the man comes up to him and says, wait, you are in i'tikaf in the masjid of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. How can you leave the masjid of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ right now when you're in the middle of your i'tikaf? So Ibn Abbas's eyes fills with tears, and he points to the grave of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and he explained that he learned from the beloved ﷺ that the reward of i'tikaf is the distance of 3 ditches between the person and hellfire. So 3 ditches that are full of reward. And each ditch is the width of the heavens and the earth, or the east and the west. And then he says, but the reward of helping someone, is the reward of 10 years of i'tikaf. To help someone, it's the reward of 10 years of i'tikaf. And in the narration that I had read, it was fi masjidi hada, in this masjid, in the Prophet's masjid. So this is incredible, because how many of us would spend thousands of dollars to go and try to perform Umrah in Masjid Nabawi, for example, in the month of Ramadan, and would want to spend our nights there in i'tikaf. And the idea that just to help someone is the reward of 10 years of i'tikaf in the masjid of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. So it shows you why love and service is a door to God. Why is it such an incredible way or path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There are different paths to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but love and service is an incredibly powerful one, or a potent one. And how much Quran can be read in i'tikaf, right? How much salah can a person do in i'tikaf? But the reward of helping someone is like 10 years. And so one of the greatest ways that we can help our brothers and sisters is in sadaqah, is in giving charity. And I know that Ramadan is a month where everyone, there's so many different causes, and we try to give to as many of them as we can. But one of the things that I think is really special and unique about the Guinea-Bissau project is that so many of the different doors to charity are open through it. So there's the way that the Guinea-Bissau project, for example, it feeds families. So there's a special reward for feeding people, right? The iftar packages. And there's special rewards. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says the best charity is to give water, right? And so, the well projects that they have. Institutions like building masajid and building schools, there's special rewards for these things as well in our religion. And this is also included in the Guinea-Bissau project. When we think about the reward of helping a new Muslim, there's so much reward in helping someone to learn and understand and practice their religion. You have an entire wave conversion in Guinea-Bissau, and all of these Muslims, they need to learn and grow and have their own scholars and have their own teachers. I mean, this type of institutional building is not just like necessary, but the rewards in this are so amazing. And each one of these different kinds of investment really is for our own futures. It's for our own akhirah. This is the kind of sadaqah jariyah that all of us would seek to give in the month of Ramadan. This is the very profitable transaction for the one who's giving. We are more in need of giving than those who receive are in need of receiving. There are so many benefits to the one who gives. There are so many ways that giving for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is really the thing that our souls need. We're literally poor. Our souls are poor, and they don't become rich until we're able to give. And we have this. We have so many. We could give a 1 hour talk or something just about the blessings. But I wanted just to mention a few reminders in this regard. One of the blessings of giving charity to those in need, right? And we know that this is a population of people who are in need. Financially, they're in need. They're in need of the sustenance and the food and the institution building and the schools and the education, like all of it. All of it's there in the Guinea-Bissau project, which is one of the things I think is so amazing, is every kind of giving is there. Even the zakat is given as direct aid. How many times and how many opportunities do we really have in terms of institutions that distribute zakat in the way of the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, where the receiver of the zakat actually has tamlik. He owns what's given to him and can do with that wealth what they would like to do with that wealth to invest in their future. Many zakat institutions actually don't give in that way, but the Guinea-Bissau project does, and that's a really beautiful way of giving, because there's an ihsan in the way that the money is distributed itself. So in terms of our need, a lot of people who think about giving and they're like, I don't want to give this much because I have to take care of this kind of medical expense. What if this happens? What if that happens, in terms of different potential medical problems? SubhanAllah, sadaqah actually helps to cure illness. One of the blessings of sadaqah is it helps to cure illness. And so one of the things that can be noticed sometimes in people in different families is that families that are extraordinarily generous will often have they will themselves, they're not going to talk about being generous, but they themselves enjoy particular blessings. One of them is that people don't get sick that often, right? And so their wealth actually becomes a barrier, something that blocks the calamity of illness from befalling people. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he actually said, treat your sick ones with charity, right? Treat your sick ones with charity. And this is, sometimes people wait until an illness happens before they give. And other people will make giving a way of life, and so it helps to protect from excessive illness. Sadaqah eases hardships and removes calamities. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said, give the sadaqah without delay, for it stands in the way of calamity. And so we know that when a calamity is about to befall someone, that there are different things that can block that calamity. One of them is actually our du'as. When we make du'a for something and it's not answered in the way that we're asking for, one of the ways that it can be answered is that it blocks a calamity from befalling us. And another way that we are blocked from a calamity befalling us is through the giving of charity, giving of sadaqah. Each one of us has two angels, like guardian angels. We have Raqib and Atid. And they actually protect and guard us all the time from different things that could be happening. But when the decree comes in which something is supposed to afflict us, they actually get out of the way so that the decree of God can occur. But something that changes what can befall us is, again, whether we make dua or whether we are giving in sadaqah, then the two angels will actually stand guard and it will be averted. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He is the one who protects us in many different ways, but one of the ways that He inspires this protection in us is when we are able to impart with our wealth for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That actually becomes something that provides protection from calamity. Sadaqah is also an investment. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Hadid, indeed, the men who practice charity and the women who practice charity and they who have loaned Allah a goodly loan, it will be multiplied for them and they will have a noble reward. And so this idea that I'm only giving this amount, don't belittle the amount. Like charity is for the rich and the poor. It's for anyone who is able to give from whatever they're able to give. But Allah can, first of all, multiply the blessings in whatever a person gives. And then the reward of what they give is also multiplied. The fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran that the musaddiqeen and the musaddiqat, right, it's men and women who give charity, even though women are already included in the category of musaddiqeen. We know that from the Arabic language. But it's mentioned right afterwards in emphasis, to also distinguish that women don't just wait for your husbands to give and say, okay, that's like as if I gave. You have your own wealth, you have your own property. And actually in Islamic history, some of the wealthiest women, or some of the wealthiest donors to Islamic endowments all over the Muslim world were actually women. And there's many studies that have talked about this, especially in the Ottoman Empire. It's actually incredible. Masajid were built through the endowments given by women. Hospitals were built. Schools and places where the poor are fed, and with such detail that even the meal that the poor will get when they come to that particular place, to it'll include this much grain and this much meat. These were the sort of endowments that women themselves participated in. And one of the ways that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really empowers women is through the idea of, since over 1400 years ago, that we own our own property. And you go to work, that is your wealth. It's not your husband's wealth, it's not your children's wealth, it's your wealth. You choose what you want to do with that wealth. And if you want to give an amount in charity, that's your decision. So for the men and women who want to give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or want to give charity, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will multiply that for them. We know that sadaqah also expiates sins. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that sadaqah extinguishes the sins like water extinguishes a fire. Now, some people, they may not have a lot of ibadah at night, and they may not have a lot of Quran, and they may not have a lot of other deeds, but they're regular in giving charity. And this is something that helps to purify their own souls. Sadaqah is one of the gates of paradise. So there's, out of the 8 gates that are there in paradise, one of them is just for the givers of sadaqah. And something that's also amazing in this is that this is a month where all of the 8 gates of paradise are open. So the gate of charity is also open, just as the gate of fasting is open. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, but those who feared their Lord will be driven to paradise in groups until when they reach it, while its gates have been opened, and its keepers will say, peace be upon you, you have become pure, so enter it to abide eternally therein. Sadaqah will be our shade on the day of judgment. Okay, sadaqah is one of the things that grants us shade. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, the believer's shade on the day of resurrection will be charity. I think this is, when we think about protection, there's protection in this life, there's also protection in the next life. For those of us who are concerned with our progress, inshallah, on the spiritual path, sadaqah purifies our souls. This concept of our attachment to this world, and our attachment to the wealth of this world, and our attachment to the equations of this world, where 1 + 1 = 2. But with belief in the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can sometimes mean that 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it can equal 500. The idea of one act of good in Islam is rewarded 10 times up to 700 times, right? Depending on the intention, depending on the context of that particular good deed. And so sadaqah is something that really allows us to affirm the unseen promises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The unseen, which is from within the promises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as well as help better the seen world that's around us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ali Imran, by no means shall you attain righteousness until you give freely of that which you love. So this spiritual path that we all seek to be on, we can't get there until we can give freely from what we love. We need this, I need this, and you need this. whatever we spend, whatever you spend, indeed Allah is knowing of it. Sadaqah is also a means of our du'as being accepted. And there's a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad that's mentioned in Muslim and Bukhari about 3 people who entered a cave and a rock fell and blocked their way out. And they asked Allah by virtue of their good deeds, right, to answer their dua and to allow them to escape this cave that they were blocked into. And so by virtue of a deed, a person can ask that some of their duas are accepted. So sadaqah works in the same way. A person can give sadaqah and then ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by virtue of this deed, I beg of you for X or Y prayer that we are in need of. Sadaqah is something that really, it shouldn't just be in the month of Ramadan, it should be a way of life for all of us. And something like the Guinea-Bissau project, which is working all year round. Yes, it needs money and wealth for us in this month of Ramadan, but it also needs money all year round. These are people who are being supported all year round. This is a hidden population of our ummah, in the world. And if we don't give and if we don't answer the call, then who's going to answer this call? We're the ones who are responsible to do it if we're able to at whatever capacity we can. So sadaqah is something that I think it brings into the world as a practice the kind of empathy and the kind of love and the kind of service and that spirit that is the spirit of Islam itself. The Prophet Muhammad, he said that your smile in the face of your brother is a charity. Your removal of stones, thorns, or bones from the path of people is charity. And your guidance of a person who is lost is charity. So this way of being in the act of service is from the spirit of the religion itself. And finally, sadaqah is the way to earn reward after we've already passed away. So at the point that a person passes away, and they say that on the day of judgment, everyone will regret. Every single person on Yawm al-Qiyamah will regret. Everyone will say, why couldn't I do more? I wish I could go back and do more. Right? Everyone will be like that. And the fact that this is the case is an indication that once we see the realities of the next life, we'll realize all the missed opportunities that we had in this life. But one of the things that, subhanAllah, will continue to give us while we're in the grave, right? This is the deed that keeps on giving, is that sadaqah jariyah. The Prophet Muhammad said, when a man dies, his deeds come to an end except for 3 things. Sadaqah jariyah, a ceaseless charity, a knowledge which is beneficial, or a virtuous descendant who prays for him or her. And so these are just 3 different categories of sadaqah jariyah, but a well is a sadaqah jariyah, right? A school, an institution, a masjid, something that continues to give after you die is a sadaqah jariyah. And when we look at the Guinea-Bissau project, all of its sort of offerings, give in that way. I mean, when you think about sustaining a family, providing their iftar for the month of Ramadan, this is a family who may not otherwise have access to that kind of food. You're preserving their lives, right? You're preserving the lives of their children, and that contributes to the preservation, inshallah, of the lives of their descendants. And so there's something that's continuing to give, inshallah, even after this blessed month is gone. And so I mention these reminders to ourselves because we are the ones who are in need of giving. We need to know that there is so much blessing in being able to be the ones who can give something. And one of them is just to be grateful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put us in a place where we are the ones who are able to give, and and instead of being the ones who are in need of receiving the aid. We could have been born in a different context if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had wanted. We didn't do anything to be born in a particular context, right? There's no deed. I have not earned my right to live in this country, or to be born in this country, or to have the wealth that I have in terms of the rizq that happens to be around me already. There's nothing I did before I was born that entitled me to the wealth that I have, that I was born into afterwards. And this is the case for all of us. And there are, from the servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who are born in very different contexts than us, and they didn't do anything that entitled them to be born in a lesser financial situation than you. To maybe there are, for those who are born into poverty, there's no deed that they did. There's nothing deficient in their souls. Actually, it's the opposite. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, in times of difficulty and hardship, he would say, أبغوني في الضعفاء فإنما تنصرون وترزقون بضعفائكم. That seek me amongst the poor, seek me amongst the du'afa, the downtrodden, because truly we as a community are given sustenance and we are given victory because of the du'afa amongst us, right? And so there's this special secret actually in this, a spiritual secret in the presence and the existence of the du'afa. They're a special category. And the Prophet Muhammad says, seek me amongst them. They are the reason for us to be able to enjoy what we enjoy. And so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to be generous in this month and to be grateful for all of the blessings He has given in this month, and for us to truly become people of love and service. And when we see these opportunities arise, to grasp them, knowing that this is like winning the lottery. And on Yawm al-Qiyamah, no one will regret. No one will regret giving sadaqah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the Day of Judgment. Everyone will say, thank God I gave. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enable us to give and to give generously. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Shaykha Muslema. We're now going to move on to the next part of the program, which is a beautiful reading of a poem from our brother Ahmed James, aka Baraka Blue. If some of you don't know Ahmed James or Baraka Blue, he has a beautiful book that has just come out called The Art of Remembrance. We're going to link that hopefully below. So if you're watching from YouTube or Facebook, you can click on it and it'll take you to his website to order the book. It's a beautiful book. He's going to read a poem for us today. And of course, this is on love and service, so it's very apt that we introduce our brother, the poet. Also, he's runs a community organization as well, very much aligned with us, our brothers and sisters in Seattle, and it's called Wasat. So we'll go now and we'll hear some beautiful words from our brother Baraka Blue. Thank you.
What you seek is seeking you, and what you speak into existence, in a realm you'll soon awaken from this dream into. When the being of light descends and says, it's now my time to meet with you, and opens up the body's cage and lets the spirit free in you. The mystery is deep in you. If you yourself could peek in through the veil of you that isn't you, but that you've come to think is you. The mystery is deep in you. If you yourself could peek in through the veil of you that isn't you, but that you've come to think is you. The one who poured before is pouring more. Is there a leak in you? You're thirsty as the desert for the rain, but there's a spring in you. An oasis in the placeless. Come inside and have a drink or two. No, this is no mirage, but the mirage is what you think is true. All is a mirage except the face that always speaks to you through every single tongue. All praise the one who is uniquely true. Rays of the feathered sun point to the one who casts its heat in you, and all the mirrored forms reflect the light. Look how it beams in you. Who receives this breath of life, and who is it that breathes in you? The path of letting go of you is the only path that leads to you. That paradisal tree whose leaves eternally are deep in bloom. The secret of all secrets is you hold its very seeds in you. The treasure that was loving to be known has hid its keys in you. Is not the chest that holds its jewels, the chest that you are breathing through. Mount the back of the Barak and grab his reins of the noble steeds in you. You think yourself a single drop of rain, and yet the sea's in you. Give yourself completely now, don't wait until he seizes you. You think yourself a creature made of clay, and yet he sees in you. The ear through which he hears, the very hand with which he seizes through. Ma ramait idha ramait, it wasn't you, but it was we who threw. What you seek before a you to seek, it was seeking you. And the only thing that's keeping you from oneness is your seeing too. Alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for those amazing words and the poetry. And in this next part, we're going to introduce Imam Zaid to you and hopefully have some words from Imam Zaid Shakir, America's Imam, one of our most beloved people to us. And Imam Zaid came with us to the Gambia just this last winter. So we were with him together in West Africa. He visited the Gambia for the first time, and he's going to be speaking with us today on love and service. We'll go ahead and hand it over to Imam Zaid.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen, Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam tasliman kathira. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is Imam Zaid Shakir coming to you on behalf of the Oasis Initiative. My dear brothers and sisters, we want to talk a little bit about love and service and our beautiful deen, our beautiful way of life. First of all, sometimes when we begin to speak about love, people think that we're trying to romanticize Islam, that we're somehow imposing Christian influences on Islam. Nothing could be further than the case. Love is at the very heart of the Islamic mission. If we look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah ta'ala informs us, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَتَّخِذُ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنْدَادًا يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ, amongst the people there are those who take equals that they set up and love as they should love Allah. Those who believe are more intense in their love for Allah. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. Those who believe are more intense in their love for Allah than their love for anyone, anything else. That's from the Quran, my dear brothers and sisters. And Allah lets us know that our love, if it's based on faith, if it's rooted in service, is love that's reciprocated. One of the most frustrating and depressing things, I believe, is unreciprocated love. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in the Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَن يَرْتَدَّ مِنكُمْ عَنْ دِينِهِ فَسَوْفَ يَأْتِي اللَّهُ بِقَوْمٍ يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ أَذِلَّةٍ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَعِزَّةٍ عَلَى الْكَافِرِينَ يُجَاهِدُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا يَخَافُونَ لَوْمَةَ لَائِمٍ ذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ يُؤْتِيهِ مَن يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ. So, just to get to the point we're making in the interest of time, oh, you believers, so Allah Ta'ala is addressing us. مَن يَرْتَدَّ مِنْكُمْ عَنْ دِينِهِ. Most of our commentators, our mufassirin, our exegetes, they mention here irtidad is not aqdi. It's not apostasy in the sense of moving away from belief into the realm of disbelief. Rather, it's turning back from serving, working for the religion. مَن يَرْتَدَّ مِنْكُمْ عَنْ دِينِهِ أي عن نصرة دينه فسوف يأتي الله بقوم, then Allah will bring another people, يحبهم ويحبونه, whom He will love and they will love Him. Whom He will love and they will love Him. So our religion is a religion of service. If anyone were to doubt that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions elsewhere in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس. You are the best of human communities raised up for humanity, and as many of the exegetes mention, the khidmat nas, that is to say, for the service of humanity. So we are the best of communities raised up to serve humanity, my dear brothers and sisters. That is the essence. That is one way. Not the only way. That's one way we help the religion. So Allah tells us, if you turn back from helping the religion, then Allah will bring another people whom He will love, and they will love Him. And the implication of that is that those who He did away with, one of the things that they lacked was love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For the people He will substitute for them, the first characteristic, the first quality that He mentions for those people, yuhibbuhum wa yuhibbuna. He will love them. He will love them. My dear brothers and sisters, so again, love is at the very heart of the Islamic mission. And that love is a mutual love. And in mutuality, there's an implication of service. Again, in mutuality, there's an implication of service. Tarasal, yatarasalu, tarasala, yatarasalu. They send letters back and forth to each other. They reciprocate each other's letters. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentions, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا تدخلون الجنة حتى تؤمنوا ولا تؤمنوا حتى تحابوا أولا أدلكم على شيء إذا فعلتموه تحاببتم أفشوا السلام بينكم. Allah Ta'ala, the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, as related by Abi Hurairah radiallahu anhu, he mentions, you will not enter paradise until you truly believe, and you will not truly believe until you love one another. Shall I not direct you to something? Were you to do it, you would love one another. Spread peace amongst yourselves. Spread peace amongst yourselves. And the peace here, my dear brothers and sisters, or before that, so that love is mutual love. Hatta tahabbu, until you love one another, until you love one another. And then he says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, shall I not? So this is a condition for entering paradise, because it's a condition for the completion and for perfection of our faith. You will not enter paradise until you truly believe, and you will not truly believe until you love one another. Shall I not direct you to something? Were you to do it, you would love one another. Spread peace amongst yourselves. Afshu salama bainakum. And that peace is in the greeting itself. This is the greeting of Islam, the greeting of the Muslims. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Peace be upon you, and upon you be peace. But that peace is also predicated on embodying the meaning of peace. And what is that, my dear brothers and sisters? Peace is rooted in the verb salima. So we say, salima yaslamu salama. Salima yaslamu salaman. Peace is rooted in that word. And that word, salima yaslamu salama, is found in a very, very important hadith. That hadith, my dear brothers and sisters, is the following. And it's the prophetic description of the Muslim, or one of the prophetic descriptions of the Muslims. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم المسلم من سلم المسلمون من لسانه ويده. المسلم من سلم المسلمون من لسانه ويده. The Muslim is one, the other Muslims are safe from his or her tongue or his or her hand. So, al-Muslim man salim al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadi, literally safe from his tongue and his hand. And this includes, generic language includes females also. So my dear brothers and sisters, salima yaslimu salama, salam is to make sure someone is experiencing safety, or is to experience safety and security. So our peace, the peace that we spread, in addition to the greeting, which is indication that we will not do anything to our fellow believer that will harm them, undermine, bemean, belittle them in any way, shape, or form. And one of the implications of that is we will serve them. We will serve them. Because if we're serving them, how could we be harming them? If we are serving them, how could we be harming them? So my dear brothers and sisters, love again. Love is one of the foundations. The hadith begins with love and it ends with peace. La ilaha illallah. What better beginning could we have and what better end? Jannah, salamun alaykum tibtum. Peace be upon you. You've done good in the world. You've done good in the world. So our affair ends with peace. And it begins with love. From one perspective, the perspective that we're discussing. لا تدخلون الجنة حتى تؤمنوا ولا تؤمنوا حتى تحابوا أولا أدلكم على شيء إذا فعلتموه تحببتم أفشوا السلام بينكم. It begins with love and it ends with peace. My dear brothers and sisters, we have an obligation to serve. You see, many Muslims in our day and time are quick, and I'm not saying most, but many. They're quick to cancel each other. They're quick to look for any fault, any slight. They're quick to tear each other down. But we have to hasten to love each other. We have to hasten to love each other. Another hadith that mentions love. لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. No one of you truly believes, again, until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. Until she loves for her sister what she loves for herself. And again, one of the ways that we express that love is through service. One of the ways we express that love is through obedience. One of the ways that we express that love is in responding to the needs of our brothers and sisters. These are all expressions of that love. And the opposite of the hadith we quoted again, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. No one of you truly believes until he or she loves for his or her brother what they love for themselves. The opposite of that is hating for their brother or sister what they would love for themselves. And that's jealousy. That's jealousy. So we hate for one another what we love for the other, what we love for themselves. I would love to have that car. He or she shouldn't have it. What are they doing with that? How could he marry that sister? I love that sister. And she didn't have any interest in me. What does she find in him? I hope they get a divorce. That is a vile characteristic. That is a satanic characteristic. Iblis, why should they prostrate to Adam? I'm better than Adam. I'm better than that brother she married. Why didn't she marry? I'm better than Adam. ما منعك ألا تسجد إذ أمرتك قال أنا خير منه خلقتني من نار وخلقته من طين. I'm better than him. You created him from fire. You created me from clay. I'm better. And so that jealousy eradicates the love. So why should he have that car? I hope he gets in an accident. I should be driving that car. Why did she marry that brother? I'm prettier than her. I have more status than her. What does he see in her? I hope they get a divorce and he realizes my virtues and marries me. La ilaha illallah. My dear brothers and sisters, how could we serve someone that we don't love? How can we serve someone we don't love? So my dear brothers and sisters, love is the foundation of service. And when we're able to love, we're able to sacrifice. were able to sacrifice. And it's no coincidence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions sacrifice as the foundation of the basic building block. In fact, the most fundamental building block in the Muslim society, the individual. The individual. And so the individual has to have the ability to love everyone so that he or she can serve everyone. لا تدخلوا الجنة لا تؤمنوا حتى تراحموا لا تؤمنوا حتى تراحموا. You will not truly believe. لن تؤمنوا حتى تراحموا. You will not truly believe until you are merciful unto one another. لن تؤمنوا حتى تراحموا. كلنا رحيم يا رسول الله. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم قالوا كلنا رحيم يا رسول الله. قال ليس إنه ليس برحمة أحدكم صاحبة. إنه ليس برحمة أحدكم صاحبة ولكنها رحمة الناس رحمة العامة. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. You will not truly believe until you are merciful unto each other. Those hearing this, they responded, O Messenger of Allah, all of us are merciful. He said, so, كُلُّنَا رَحِيمٌ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. So each and every one of us as individual believers, we are merciful, O Messenger of Allah. فَقَالَ لَيْسَ إِنَّهُ لَيْسَ بِرَحْمَةِ أَحَدِكُمْ صَاحِبًا. I'm not talking about the mercy you show to those closest to you. وَلَكِنَّهَا رَحْمَةُ النَّاسِ رَحْمَةُ الْعَامَّةِ. Rather, I'm talking about the mercy you show to all of the people, the mercy you show to the general public. Again, this is the foundation of our serving the general public, our serving each other, our extending the invitation of Islam to those who lack this beautiful faith, my dear brothers and sisters. That foundation is in love and it's in mercy. In terms of the mercy and the love, they're linked together in the person. Kulluna rahimun, ya Rasulullah. All of us believers are merciful, O Messenger of Allah. And let us have that mercy that all of that first generation who responded had. Then the individual comes together to form the family. And the foundation of the family is the union between a man and a woman. This is the Islamic view. Non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. The union between a man and a woman. What does Allah say about that? وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُم مَّوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. That amongst His signs He's made for you from yourselves spouses in order that you live together with them in peace and tranquility, and He's made between you love and mercy. Surely in this are signs for people who reflect. إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Let us reflect on this, my dear brothers and sisters. And then that foundation, families come together to make the wider society. And what is the foundation of that wider society, my dear brothers and sisters? قال صلى الله عليه وسلم مثل المؤمنين في تودهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم مثل الجسد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر الجسد في السهر والحمى. لا إله إلا الله. The likeness of the community of the believers in their mutual love and their mutual mercy and the mutual emotional bonds that they share is like a single body. If one part complains of some injury, the entire body rallies. Each other rallies for the sake of that injured part with sleeplessness and fever. So that's the foundation of our ummah. And upon this foundation, service emerges. And so when we are merciful and when we are blessed with the guidance of merciful leaders and merciful scholars, We become communities of service. And the Oasis Project is serving primarily, but not exclusively, our dear brothers and sisters in West Africa. And one of the great services that they're providing are to people who are referred to as Balanta, uncivilized, savage, but now they're gaining civilization, if you will. They have virtues in their state before Islam. فَخِيَارُكُمْ فِي الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ خِيَارُكُمْ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ إِذَا فَقُهُوا وَفَقَهُوا وَفَقِهُوا. The best of you before Islam, الناس معادن الذهب والفضة فخيارهم في الجاهلية خيارهم في الإسلام. People like loads of metal, loads of gold and silver, and the best of them before Islam will be the best of them in Islam. And one of the people who have tremendous virtues, their independence, their self-sufficiency, their stubbornness and protecting their traditions and their people. These people are being graced with Islam, and they're beautiful Muslims. I've had the opportunity to meet some of the young men studying the Quran from Guinea-Bissau, from those people newly converted into Islam. Let's help the Oasis Project to extend the blessing of Islam to more and more people in Guinea-Bissau, more and more of the Balanta, and to serve them by educating them, and to serve them by feeding them, and to serve by assisting in feeding them and assisting them in growing crops and cultivating cattle to feed themselves, assisting them in learning the religion so that they can go back and teach their people. This is an amazing project, my dear brothers and sisters, on the basis of our love and on the basis of our mercy, on the basis of our faith, on the basis of the peace that we share. Let us extend it in service to others. This is Imam Zaid Shakir on behalf of the Oasis Initiative. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
MashaAllah, thank you, Imam Zaid. Really appreciate that. Imam Zaid's amazing, subhanAllah. I mean, even the way that he's connecting love and mercy. One of my earliest memories of Imam Zaid when I first met him was probably 10 years ago. Maybe it was about 10 years ago. And I think I was in New York. Maybe it was Chicago, but I had my 2 or 3-year-old son with me. And we were in this really large gathering. I think it was an apartment full of people. And he just spent like 5 minutes playing with my son. And I have a picture on my phone of a long time ago of just him playing horsey, like with my son on his lap. But I think what really matters is that when we talk about love in general, the people that we're listening to have love. And so, I really remember that from Imam Zaid. And when I was with him in the Gambia recently, I told him the story and it's not like he remembered, but that's how he is as a person. So thank you, Imam Zaid, for those beautiful words. It really means a lot to us to have his support. And we'll move on now. We're going to close very, very soon. So I don't want to keep you all too long. But this next part is just a Q&A. And I've gotten some questions that have come through. I think YouTube was one place, but people have been texting me too. So I'm just going to read a couple of them and we'll go ahead and answer them for people. Question 1. Could you please tell us about your experience in Guinea-Bissau? What are the people like? Imam Zaid mentioned this when he referred to the Balanta and the people that he met at our boarding school. But probably one of my most cherished memories is that I went to a village and we were traveling a lot. This was probably maybe day 5 of my trip. And we got to a village called Mansoa. And I was greeted there by, the tribes, the elder people in the tribe. You kind of sit with the elders. And so we sat with them. I met one of the brothers there, and then he just wanted to take me around the village. So this is a large village. Maybe it's about 7,000, 8,000 people. And we walked around, and then he said, do you want to come and visit my home? And I said, sure. And so I remember just going to his house, and I met his wife, and I believe it was his mother, and there were children playing. And his wife was pregnant at the time. And I just talked to his family in our broken way of trying to speak to each other, right? Because he knew a little bit of English. I don't know the local language. It's a mix of like Portuguese and Creole, So it's a difficult language to understand. But we were just trying to like half communicate. I was trying to joke around, and it was a very simple, really simple meeting, right? And I spent maybe 10 or 15 minutes with his family, and then I left. And a couple months later, maybe it was 3 or 4 months later, I get a message from one of our people on the ground in Guinea-Bissau, and he sends me a picture of a baby. And he said, that family that you met in Guinea-Bissau, this was the baby. They had a baby. It's a boy. So I was really happy. I said, mashallah, that's amazing. And then he told me, he said, they named him Faisal. They named him your name. And so I was just really shocked by that, because it was just 15 minutes, but the love that the people have in just you visiting them and taking care of them, they reciprocated, right? And I'm just honored to have, this baby, this child in Guinea-Bissau named after me. But I think that's a really good example of what the people are like. They're really welcoming, they're really kind, they're really beautiful people, and they're full of love and life. So it was obviously changed my life to just experience that firsthand. And that's why we want to bring this project to you all, because these are the types of people we're trying to serve, and inshallah we'll be rewarded for that. But it's more about how much we actually get to benefit in the long run. Let's see. Question 2. Could you please touch on what is being done for young girls in the area? Are they also going to benefit from our donations? That's a good question. We do obviously educate all the children in the villages, which includes women, girls. And so the idea is to eventually build boarding schools for the girls as well. And that's obviously a much bigger project, and we want to get there. But there are examples of us kind of supporting women in general in the region. Of course, we know that it's a societal obligation to have male teachers and female teachers. So that's something that we really want to stress. And I know some of our teachers stress this as well, that as a society and as a community, we need to have both male teachers and female teachers. So empowering and educating that next generation of women in West Africa is a really serious part of the conversation. And we take that very seriously. What we instituted recently was we just kind of had a drive where we found a local tailor, a local woman, who was a tailor and was making clothes. And we noticed that in some of the villages, the children don't have a lot of clothes. And as they get to a certain age, they get a little bit shy and modest that they don't have enough clothes. And so what we did was we supported a local business, this woman tailor, and we had her make 500, I believe, sort of like a jilbab long robe for the women and the girls to use at school, kind of like a school uniform. And so these are examples of how we're trying to empower local women in the area. With our sustainability project, that is part of it, which is that a lot of these women are forming the bedrock of society, whether they're making crafts or clothes, or they have a little restaurant. We want to support these types of initiatives. So this is a big part of the project as well. Question 3, are we making investments in the sustainability of the project? Yeah, that's exactly what I just spoke about. But there's other ways that we're trying to do that. So the other example is tractors. And this is primarily an agricultural place. Cashew farming is their big cash crop. Of course, we don't want the children to be working all day in the fields, so that's something we want to avoid. But for the actual farmers, what we decided to do was to purchase tractors on our own using your sadaqah. And those tractors are now put into the fields to help them. And we rent them out for a fair price, so we're able to bring in money back into the dawah efforts that we're doing, but we're also supporting the local economy. And one of the things that I just keep telling all of you, you've probably heard the story a million times, but I think it's important, is that we take for granted in the West sort of the stability of just being able to travel from one place to another. And these villages are often far apart. And so having a tractor that can even transport cement or stones or rocks for construction projects, building a clinic, building a hospital, these things are necessary and required. So buying things like the tractors, I think, are a way that we are building the local economies, but we're also trying to bring sustainability into the projects. We're running out of time. I think we should probably end here. But we're going to end by playing one more video. This was sponsored by the Center for Global Muslim Life. Our brother Justin's just done a great job, and he has a prayer rug project. Of course, we'll close by just saying that, we're currently at roughly $80,000. We really want to raise a lot of money for this project. This is a huge project. So whatever you can give, please give. We're also going to leave a link for the volunteer chat in WhatsApp. That's a really important place for you all to kind of get a daily message that you can send out to family and friends. And this is a really important part of this, which is that we can't support this project without all of you. And so just spreading it to friends and family, of course, donating yourself, but just spreading the word. It's a really amazing project itself. Really goes a long way. So we'll leave something, I think, in the link in YouTube for just a volunteer chat and Facebook. And hopefully you'll be able to join the WhatsApp group, and just daily you can send it out to friends and family on WhatsApp. And hopefully we spread the word, and we can really support this project. We're going to play a short video by Dustin and the Center for Global Muslim Life on prayer rugs. But thank you for joining us today. Allah bless you and protect you all. God bless you. And inshallah, we have a really beautiful Ramadan ahead of us. Barakallahu feekum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
5 times a day, 35 times a week, 140 times a month, 1,680 prayers a year. Every 20 years, we pray more than 33,000 times. Our prayer rugs are always with us, but how often do we think about what they mean? Our prayer rugs are the living artifacts of our families and our lives, and they each have a story. The journey of our lives are made up of moments, feelings, loved ones, and the things that make us feel home, the things that make us feel we truly belong. I'm the first Muslim in my family after I converted 20 years ago. My oldest prayer rug is this beautiful brown, soft rug that I found in an older part of Medina in a store with rugs from all over the world. I bought it when I first made Umrah in 2007, and it's been with me everywhere I've moved across the world over the last 15 years. I just went to Colombia for the first time to visit my friends at El Encuentro, who are building an Islamic center in the hills of Medellin. What a beautiful trip to see the seeds of Islam being planted throughout the Americas. This is my newest prayer rug that they produce with local indigenous communities. When I think about my most meaningful prayer rug, it is definitely the one that I bought as a gift for my mother in Jeddah in 2011. This was shortly after the war in Syria started, and there was a new store opened by a refugee with goods straight from Damascus. My mother Mary passed away almost 10 years ago now, Allah yarhamaha, and so I gifted the prayer rug to my wife as a family heirloom. This is the prayer rug that inspired this project. The Canadian prayer rug was made by our mashallah beautiful and brilliant friends at Islamic Family in Edmonton, who we have been working with over the last 2 years to think about issues around Muslim wellness and belonging. They created the prayer rug through a deep listening campaign with members of the Muslim community, with elders from the local indigenous communities, and together they thought of the land, Islamic design, and indigenous design languages in creating this rug that they first launched in 2016. These are the conversations we are trying to start with the Global Prayer Rug Project. Conversations about love, belonging, place, home, the environment, and of course design. We're going to create design competitions and local prayer rug projects, inshallah, in cities around the world. Our goal is to develop institutional and educational curricula to take this project everywhere. But we need your help as we launch our first 4 prayer rug projects. These will be in California and in Seattle, and our Islam in the Americas prayer rug, where we are telling the story of the future of our faith on these continents with the focus on Latino Muslims. Finally, we are excited to announce our global design competition, which will be open to submissions from around the world and will include special categories for global refugee designers and for youth and children as well. Want to bring this project to your city? We're open to adding more cities and partners and schools to our pilot program. Please reach out. Assalamu alaikum. Peace and blessings. Do you have a story to tell about your prayer rugs? Take a photo or short video, then tag us at Global Muslim Life and use the hashtag Global Prayer Rug.